Today on gameranx, we're here to bring you 10 things we want to see in Red Dead Redemption 2. Starting off at number 10, one thing that was great about Red Dead Redemption's setting was when it took place, and I think for Red Dead 2, they need to pick an interesting time frame to set it in. The previous game took place in 1911 during the death of the Old West. There were more means of transportation. There's the city of Blackwater, which is a pre-modern town, and seems to be the most technologically advanced town in the game. You can see cars and electric lines. So you got to see a new America begin to merge with an old America, and in Red Dead 2, it would be great to be in another cool point of history. Maybe right after the Civil War, for example, where you get to see people dealing with the fact that their country had just gone to war with itself. I don't know, I just think that could serve for a really interesting backdrop. But we aren't here for history lessons, so moving on to number 9. Rockstar games typically have you playing as a criminal and as someone who really isn't that likable. You're really just never playing as a good person. In Red Dead Redemption, John Marston was kind of the exception to that. Yeah, he had his criminal past, but he ended up getting out of it to start a family and live a normal life. And unwillingly, he got back into the life of running around and killing people, except this time it was for the government. Michael DeSanta from GTA 5 is similar in the sense of that he got out of the crime life and into a normal one, but that man is just a straight up psychopath that really wanted back into it because it's all he knows. So John Marston did kind of act in the gray area for the most of Red Dead Redemption, but there wasn't too much focus on it. In Red Dead 2, I think it would be interesting to see a focus on that. I'm not talking about like a full-fledged morality system, but maybe just certain choices that you can make as a player, but not passive choices that down the road don't matter, but instead choices that will help shape the character you're playing as. Let me choose between maybe raiding someone's homestead and not raiding it. Getting choices like this could be a great way to help build the character and the narrative. And if this is a prequel and you're playing as John Marston, getting to make choices like this might help do a better job at showing the transition that John Marston made from an outlaw to a normal life living family man. Which leads into our next point at number 8, which is when exactly does this game take place? Some think it's going to be a sequel and you'll be playing as Jack Marston, and some seem to think that it's a prequel and you'll once again be playing as John Marston, or maybe a member or members of his gang. And then some people think it's going to be something completely unrelated to John Marston. Personally, I would prefer to see the focus on John Marston, maybe not you playing as him, but playing as someone who is around him. There is a lot of story to work with if they have this game take place before the previous game and the focus is on Dutch's gang. There's a lot of history between John and Dutch that could make for some really interesting plot points. You also don't necessarily have to play as John either. Playing as a brand new character would get the job done. Maybe you play as a young up-and-comer in the gang, and John Marston is a supporting character and maybe a quest giver of some sort. Or maybe that morality aspect that I mentioned before in the previous point is a real thing and you can choose to side with either John or Dutch on certain matters. Or maybe Rockstar will take a page from the GTA 5 book and have you playing as more than one character. And next up at number 7, I'm a sucker for good customization, especially in a big open world game that I'm going to be sinking a ton of hours into. I mean, I'm going to be looking at my character for a long time and they might as well look as cool as hell. The bigger open world games we have today like Witcher 3 and Fallout 4 let you customize the way you look, and it makes playing the game that much cooler because I get to play as my Geralt and I get to play as my Vault Dweller, and I would love to play Red Dead 2 as my whoever the hell I'm playing as. Now Red Dead Redemption did have different outfits that you could wear and each one had a different set of skills to it. There was one that was better for hunting, there was one that made your Deadeye better, and ones that let you cheat at poker and play high stake poker games, and some just made you look really cool, like that Duster. That Duster, that's the coolest John Marston look that you can get in that game. And then you get Grand Theft Auto 5, which killed it with character customization. There were so many different options for your characters between clothing, hairstyles, tattoos, that you customize everything. And if Rockstar plans on incorporating that into Red Dead 2, I will be very happy. And next up at number 6, Red Dead Redemption was full of wacky characters and real strange encounters, some of them being random, some of them being in the middle of nowhere, and some of them being missions. It made the game world seem more alive and way more interesting, and it's something I'd love to see return in Red Dead 2. Some of these encounters were short side quests you could do, and others were just random happenings. You'd be riding around on your horse and you'd come across a guy running from a pack of wild animals, or come across a group of bandits that might want to make the mistake of trying to kill you. And these small quests are some of my favorite memories from that game. The American Appetites mission, where you have to find out why people are disappearing from Armadillo only to discover that they're being kidnapped and eaten by a cannibal. Or the mission where an old man who lives in the middle of the woods asks you to collect flowers for his wife, and after collecting them and bringing them back, he brings you inside to meet her, and she's just a dead and rotting corpse that he is talking to and thinks is still alive. And of course, John Marston's freaked out and he dips. But these missions and these random encounters were so strange and so humorous in a very dark and twisted way, and I think it plays a big part in the Red Dead tone. and it's a part of what makes it what it is, and it would just be strange to not have that in the sequel because it's part of its identity. It's part of what makes Red Dead Redemption, Red Dead Redemption. And moving on to number 5, one thing that we see pop up in a lot of games today are RPG elements, even if it's just a little bit. And I think that maybe Red Dead 2 could benefit from having them as well. And what I would really like to see from this is a skill tree, not one that's like class-based, but more on the Horizon Zero Dawn side, where it's there and it's important, but it doesn't drastically change how you play the game. For example, maybe have a skill tree that focuses on your horseback combat, or maybe have one for hand-to-hand combat and another for gunplay. Also, maybe let us have safe houses of our own that we can build up and customize and tailor it to look how we want it to look. Just give me something that will make the character I'm playing seem more like my character. And then number 4, one of my favorite things in Red Dead Redemption was the hunting. And by that I mean hunting animals and hunting people. Completing all the hunting challenges and finally hunting the legendary animals was always a blast in my opinion. And while it was a blast, there's a lot more Rockstar could have done with it. Maybe adding a tracking system to the mix where you would have to track your target throughout a certain portion of the map trying to land the kill. Just adding something to spice it up a bit could really help. And while hunting animals was always a blast, so was hunting down bounties. In the previous game, you could find wanted posters and then head out to capture the bounty either dead or alive. And just like hunting, there could be something more to add to this just to make it a little bit more fun. Like I love the idea of a statewide manhunt, or just something, a manhunt over a big portion of the map. Using a tracking system that could be similar to the one for hunting animals, going from town to town trying to find out where your bounty went. I don't know about you guys, but I think a change like this could be really cool. And next up at number 3, I really want to see a wacky single-player DLC get released for Red Dead 2. The Undead Nightmare DLC that came out for Red Dead Redemption was such a blast, and for those of you that don't know, the DLC had the world of Red Dead Redemption being hit by a zombie virus, and you got to run around as John Marston, and you were just taking out zombies, protecting certain towns. It didn't take itself seriously at all, and it was really funny, and there was also content from it that leaked over into the multiplayer. And one of my biggest complaints with GTA 5 is that we never got any type of story DLC, which is a bummer because Undead Nightmare and the GTA 4 DLC packs is all proof that Rockstar can kill it with story DLC. I think it would be really cool to get a DLC where aliens are attacking and you're fighting them off, and there's some cool steampunk weapons thrown into the mix too. I just need some type of story DLC, and I would love for it to be super wacky and super out there. And next up, at number 2, I think this is a super obvious point. Red Dead Redemption 2 needs to have an awesome multiplayer. I don't need to go into details about how big or how good GTA 5's multiplayer is. I think you guys already have an idea of that. But if we could get something similar to that for Red Dead 2, I'd be really excited. GTA Online launched about 3 years ago and it still has an insanely strong player base, and Rockstar has done an amazing job with supporting it and always having something fun and fresh and different to add to the mix. And I really think that the hecticness of GTA Online but thrown into the Wild West would be a blast to play. But I don't think that it should be a reskinned GTA Online either. There should be something different that sets itself apart. I really like the idea of maybe having 2 different factions, outlaws and lawmen, then give us the basic multiplayer modes like team deathmatch and all that, and of course give us the free roam too, but then also give us like train robberies, for example. The outlaws would be working to rob a train, with the lawmen following behind trying to stop it. And also, of course, super important, give us heists. The heists in GTA Online can be one of the best things you get to do in that game if you have the right group of players with you to do it. So imagine taking all of that planning and putting it into robbing a bank, like a Wild West style bank. Come on, that would be perfect. Also, saloon shootouts. Come on. I don't know, I just think there's a lot to do with this multiplayer. And if you've ever played the Red Dead Redemption multiplayer, you know that Rockstar had something special on their hands. So all they need to do is build off that and also keep GTA Online in mind, and they'll be fine. Oh, and of course, just support it as well as they supported GTA Online. But still support the single player. And finally, at number 1, and probably the most important point of all, give us Red Dead Redemption 2 on the PC. Rockstar took 2 years to give us GTA 5 on PC, and we still don't have Red Dead Redemption. So maybe just give us both, but like soon, not, 2 to 3 years after. Cool, thanks Rockstar, we appreciate it. And those are some things that we want to see in Red Dead Redemption 2, but we want to hear from you guys. Meet us down in the comments and let us know what you think. Do you want a multiplayer that is the same scale as GTA Online? And where and when do you want to see this game take place? Also, hitting that like button really helps us out, and if you're new here, subscribing is a really good idea because we put up videos like this every single day. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time right here on gameranx.